was 18 years old, I did something that set this chain reaction of events in my life. I bought a motorcycle. That motorcycle ignited this fire, this passion within me that I desperately needed in my life. So as I was riding motorcycles, I was consumed by it, and eventually the next step for me was to start racing motorcycles. Simple enough. But like other stories you've heard here today, everyone around me thought this is possibly the worst decision I could ever do with my life. I heard it all. It was too dangerous, it was too expensive, I was going to kill myself out there. And some of the points they brought up were valid points, but for the first time in my adult life, I really honed in and trusted my gut that this was something that I wanted to do. And I could really feel it within myself. So I started racing, and it was a fantastic experience. Now, when I'm racing, I'm traveling at speeds of up to 190 miles per hour. And at that speed, I'm covering the distance, the length of a football field, every second that goes by. So my ability to digest information, process things at a high rate of speed become really important. How much throttle to apply, how much brake to apply, things like that. And this high-speed to-do checklist, with enough practice, becomes my instinct. So, so even a split-second delay in your decision-making can have some really, really bad effects. I remember a number of years back, I was racing, it was mid-race, bombing down the front straightaway at 185 miles an hour. And as I tipped the bike into that first corner, I hit a bump, and the bike started to shake and wobble uncontrollably. And I started to run off the course. And instead of relying on my instinct to help kind of fix the situation, I panicked. The first thought that entered my mind was, oh no, this is gonna hurt a lot. And during that time that it took to think that, the length of a football field goes by. My second thought is, you know what? Everyone else was right. I was wrong. I'm gonna die out here doing this. As another football field length goes by. And about that time, I ran off the course and crashed in spectacular fashion. Flashes of pain shot through my body as I tumbled, and it was a pretty painful experience. But I didn't let things like that get me down, and in fact, I started to use my instinct, trusting my gut in more areas of my life. I actually went from working in a motorcycle shop, shuffling around parts in some dark, windowless basement, that everyone said, oh, there's no career, there's no future in it, to getting promoted and working hard, and eventually got to call down to California to work for an Italian company that makes the motorcycles, the picture you see up here, and started to really carve out this nice career for myself, this opportunity to take what I love and make a living, which was a fantastic experience. Now, in 2008, the doors blew wide open for me for some of the coolest experiences I had ever had in my life. I got to join Mission Motors to take my love of all things two wheels, combine it with electric vehicles to have a really positive impact on the environment and vehicle technology. This motorcycle you see here is the Mission R. This is Mission Motors' evolution of that technology. Hands down, some of the most cutting-edge vehicle technology there is on the market, electric or otherwise. Now, in 2009, we wanted to show the world exactly how fast this motorcycle was. So we went to Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah to break the AMA land speed record. I'd never been to Bonneville before, and we show up, and you can see this course here. It's this huge, vast whiteness out there. And you've got this 5-mile course, 2 miles to get up to speed, 1 mile of flat out, as fast as that motorcycle will possibly go across the length of the entire mile, and then 2 miles to slow down. Now, because I'd never been to Bonneville before, never ridden on the salt, I didn't think going in a straight line on a motorcycle was going to be all that difficult. But what I found out on my first run is that it was much closer to riding down a loose gravel road than it was to riding on the pavement. And as I approached 160 miles an hour on that first run, the bike started to get a little uncomfortable. It started to drift around a bit. And about 165, the motorcycle was hitting this aerodynamic wall where it was ripping through the wind, and started to lose traction on the back end because it was just pushing too much at that speed. Now the bike was all sorts of crossed up, weaving and wobbling its way down through the mile. And the first thought that entered my mind was, oh no, this is gonna hurt a lot. A football field length goes by. And my second thought is, how's my pregnant wife at home gonna raise my son if I die out here today? Another football field length goes by. But these days, I trust my gut. I trust my instinct. Despite the fact that my brain's telling me to shut off the throttle, I stayed in it because I knew that that was the right thing to do, and I kept full speed, corrected it through the mile, and on the following day, we were able to break the land speed record. You can see here. Coming into the time mile, the front end was wobbling. You look down, the speed of it was 162. The front end just wants to track wherever it's tracking, and then we can feel wherever it's tracking. Spinning up and catching. Spinning up and catching.
I think 1117, the electric motorbike, through the mile at a very respectable 154.442.
Now, it sounds simple enough, right? We hear it all the time, trust your gut. But sometimes it's not so easy because when things get busy with school, with your friends or your family, sometimes it can feel like your world is passing you up at the length of a football field every second. So when those big decisions come up, remember not to pay attention to what other people say. Follow your passions at all costs. And when it gets really difficult, just trust your gut. Thank you.